welcome to Get Healthy with Dr. Cooper. And I'm your host, Dr. Dona Cooper-Dockery. Here on Get Healthy, the goal is to give you evidence-based information that will help you along your path to good health. I am a board-certified internal medicine doctor, and I've been practicing medicine for the last 27 years. And over the years, I've seen so many chronic diseases that are actually preventable. This week, I got a very sad news that the city where I live, McAllen, Texas, is the fattest city in the United States. Can you imagine that? My city, where I live, McAllen, Mission, Edinburgh, we are now the fattest. In 2011 and 2012, we have the same ranking, but over the past few years, we dropped to third and fourth. But I was very surprised this week when I got the news. We're again number one. What are we doing wrong? What are we not doing? Why is it that we have so many people here in South Texas, McAllen, Mission, Texas, that are overweight? No wonder the incidence of diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension is on the rise. Even though I'm an internist and I see adults, I have several young patients, teenagers, that are diabetic, hypertensive, high cholesterol. This morning, I was reviewing a medical record for one of my patients. She's only 16. Her hemoglobin A1C, this is a test that we use in the diabetics to determine their average sugar. Now, the normal value is 4.5 to under 6. And her number was 14. It means that she's living with a blood sugar of about 400 average per day. This was very difficult for me to accept, because I know that in the next 10 to 15 years, that same young lady, if we don't manage her sugar well, then she's going to start having problem with her vision, problem with her heart. She's going to end up on dialysis. Now, if you're listening to me and you're diabetic, then you have to be conscious of what you're doing. But I started to think, and someone said to me this week, Dr. Cooper, in order for us to have a healthy community, healthy families, and a healthy nation, healthy world, we need to start with the young people, the children. We need to start educating the children. If you're my regular listener, you know that I discuss diseases that we see in adults. But today I decided to change it and to discuss how to save our children from dying young. We need to educate the parents, we need to educate the children on healthy steps that they need to take in order to prevent these chronic diseases. If we don't get our young children well early, then they're going to be very sick adults, and their lifespan will indeed be shorter than ours. So, my emphasis on this show is, how do we save our children from dying young? I have a pediatrician with me, a friend of mine, which you will meet soon. But before we move on, I'd like you to share the page, like, and comment. I'm going to be looking at those who have made the most comments, and I'll be having gifts. It might be one of my books. I have 3 books on the market, 14 Days to Amazing Health. I also have Get Healthy for Life, and I have a cookbook, Incredibly Delicious Vegan. I have a couple online courses. So if you share and like, then you might be getting one of the books, or you might be getting one of my courses for free. I want you to call your friends, call your families, and if you have children at home, tell them to go to the site right now, because this topic is relevant for them. How do we keep our children well? How do we save them from dying young? So without further ado, I'm going to put up a video that will advertise our upcoming event, the first Health and Wellness Summit in the Rio Grande Valley. Will be on April 11th. I want to see you there. Bring your children. It's on a Wednesday, but we're going to be having a significant education. We're having doctors from, our main speakers from Loma Linda University. We also have from Andrews University. We have from UTRGV here in South Texas, and some other doctors from Dallas. So I want to invite you to come out to the first Health and Wellness Summit. If you're a business owner, come out, call us, because you can actually advertise your business there. So right now, we're going to go to this video summit, and then you will meet Dr. Verley Gordon. Don't go away. Share and like the page.
Why are some cultures living longer than others? Could the answer be found on your plate or in your lifestyle? Find out Wednesday, April 11, 2018 at Get Healthy RGV Health and Wellness Summit in McAllen, Texas. Register online now at bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV. That's bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV. Receive free medical screenings and enjoy healthy, flavorful cooking demos, samples, and more. While you're here, plan to attend the Continuing Medical Education Conference. Hundreds of healthcare professionals, health coaches, chiropractors, and dietitians from across the country will descend upon McAllen, Texas for one day only. CMEC 2018. Get insight from top nutrition and health experts and industry leaders. Network with hundreds of healthcare professionals and earn continuing education credits. Save the date, Wednesday, April 11, 2018. Get Healthy RGV Health and Wellness Summit, McAllen Convention Center. Located at 700 Convention Center Boulevard, McAllen, Texas. Stay informed about the benefits of good nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. Let's change the future of healthcare. Use lifestyle as we add years to life and life to years. Register online now at bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV.
Welcome back to Get Healthy with Dr. Cooper. Today I have in the studio a pediatrician. Now, for you that have been following me, you know that I always speak about adult medicine. How do we reverse diabetes and hypertension? How do we prevent cancer? But you know what? In order for us to have healthy adults, we really need to start with the children. So that is the reason why today our focus is saving our children from dying young. Dr. Gordon, welcome to Get Healthy.
Thank you very much for extending us the invitation, and it is a big pleasure to be here with you today.
Tell me about yourself. Where were you trained? What are you doing right now?
Okay, I'm originally from Costa Rica. I trained in Montemorelos, Mexico, which is not too far away from here. I did medical school there. Then eventually I went to New York. There is where I did pediatrics. It is a 3 years training. And then exactly after that, I came here to the Valley. Initially, I was in Westlaco, then McAllen area, and now for the past 11 years, I've been in Palmview, Texas.
Right. So how long have you been practicing pediatrics?
Oh, I would say for the last 20 years, more or less.
Very good.
Actually, I've reached the point where some of the patients that I used to see as children now they have their own kids, and then I'm seeing their kids now.
So you're a grandfather pediatrician, right?
Something like that.
Interesting. Now you see from newborns up to what age?
Newborns, pediatrics is usually like newborns until 18 is the cutoff age. Some pediatricians usually see until 11, 12. They don't really deal much with adolescents. Some even go to the point of 20, 21 years of age. I usually see until 18, even though there have been some exceptions in the clinic.
Yeah, this week I saw a young lady, she was 21, and she said she was referred to me by her pediatrician, 21. Okay. So it goes wherever you guys want to see the patient. You know, this week I was informed that McAllen, Texas, where we practice medicine, McAllen Mission, Texas, we're again ranked #1 in obesity and inactivity. I know that in 2011 and 12 we were #1, and then we dropped to #3, #4. What is the problem, doctor? What do you see in your practice with your children and the incidence of obesity?
Okay. Especially for the past, what would it be, like the past 15, 20 years, maybe a little bit more, the rate of obesity, increase of weight has been skyrocketing to the point where currently I would say it is about 30 going closer to 40% of kids that are considered to be overweight. And you have several factors with that. Number one, you have the eating. What contributes more than anything to increase of weight is what you consume. One of the things that I explain to people is the following. Our body needs a certain amount of calories daily. So if we consume that amount, our weight will tend to be steady. If we consume less than that, then we'll decrease weight. But guess what? If we consume more than that, then we are going to increase our weight. That is one end. The other end would be the lack of activities. Nowadays, we have a lot of TV, cell phone, iPads, and all of those nice things. Plus, inside, you have a very nice environment. And outside is either, I hear parents say, it is either too cold or too hot.
Warm, yes.
So then kids spend much time inside,
On the
inactive,
screen.
plus the refrigerator is, and the pantry is filled with lots of snacks,
Unhealthy
food,
foods.
and unhealthy things.
Right,
So
right.
I would say those two things are the major. You always have other factors, but those I would say the two major points.
I agree, because studies have shown that the #1 risk factor for obesity and chronic diseases is actually the food that we consume. High fat, high calories, and of course, the lack of exercise. Studies have shown that young people spend about 11 hours sitting, 11 hours on the screen. So these two factors, as you mentioned, increases the risk for obesity. Now, with obesity, doctor, what are some of the other chronic diseases that the patients will get as a result of obesity?
Okay. Actually, obesity can affect any part of your body. Now, yes, you are going to have some things that it tend to affect a little more than others. We spoke about previously related to diabetes, which is increasing their blood sugar. One of the things that we used to see a lot in pediatrics, especially when I started, when you heard about a pediatric patient having diabetes, we used to think about diabetes type 1. It is thought to be related to some type of viral illness that affects, inflame, and damage the pancreas. So it doesn't produce insulin, so then the person develops diabetes. Now, because of the increase in weight, the load of sugar that our body has, then the problem that we are seeing now is that the body has to produce too much insulin to be able to compensate for that rise in the blood sugar. So then eventually the pancreas gets tired and is not able to produce enough, then you get diabetes. Aside from that, because of the increased amount of fat, all of that fat has to get blood supply. You have overwork of the heart, and then you develop also problems with hypertension. That fat has to be stored somewhere. It is stored in several places in our body. One of those areas is the liver, and then you develop what you call fatty liver.
Right.
Some parents have a difficulty to capture the idea that their kids might actually develop cirrhosis, because we usually relate this to consumption of alcoholic beverages. But even without taking any alcohol, you can develop cirrhosis because of overweight. It can damage your kidneys because of overwork, also, and what you call overfiltration.
Right.
So eventually, if it is not controlled, you could end up having end-stage kidney disease because of the same overweight. And you could continue with your bones, with your thyroid, and so
just
many
about
other
everything.
things.
So
Pretty
parents, yes, you can see that obesity is a disease. Obesity is a disease that will cause other chronic diseases. So we have to ensure that the children are eating correctly. We need to make sure that we have the healthy foods at home in the pantry and in the refrigerator, because studies have shown that 40% of the kids in the United States between 10 and 17 are either overweight or obese. Here in the Rio Grande Valley, it's just about the same. And as you mentioned, if we do not fix that obesity, then our children are going to be living much shorter than us. Now, what can we say to the parents about obesity, how they should help their kids to stay healthier?
Okay. Before I address that directly, one of the things that I would comment is that many times parents would mention the following. In our family, we tend to have this, so we consider this to be something hereditary. Not necessarily so. What we see is that it's more of a lifestyle. If someone enters in a family, even if they are coming from a different family, once they are introduced to this family, they are going to be affected usually with the things that this family has. Why? Because they are going to be involved in the lifestyle that this family has. So there are several things that medicine or the Academy of Pediatrics recommends. But the important thing is that parents might be able to implement this in their lifestyle. Number one, limit the amount of screen time that the kids might have to 1 hour per day. If you try to do that, the kids are going to cry murder.
Exactly. They're going to rebel.
They are going to rebel. So part of this, parents will need to have a plan. Okay, this screen time that we're going to reduce, what are we going to supplement it? One of the good things that this country has is that it has a lot of activities, either related to the school, community, different other things, sports, parks, recreational things that they can do and be physically active. They are not only going to be active, but also keep away from the refrigerator.
That's right. You know, Dr. Gordon, I see that you have a lot more to say. So we're going to take a short break and return with Dr. Gordon and saving our kids from dying young. We'll be right back. Don't go away. All right, so I want to take this time to welcome some of our viewers. I have Pauline Hogg. That is my cousin from England. I just met her. Dr. Fulp, welcome. I know you're an orthopedic surgeon, but you can learn some information from this to share with your patients as well. Nadine Blackwell, New York. Rosemary Redway, my sister from New York. Brother Clinton Box Hill, New York. Agnes Day, you're always on. Welcome. Curtis, I want to welcome you. And there are others that are joining. I welcome you, and I want you to share and like her page, because the information that we're giving here, I think this information is vital, not only to save our children's lives, but to create healthier families, healthier communities, and healthier nation and healthier world. So share and like her page, and please ask comments. I'll take your comments, I'll answer them when I get the chance. And if you'd like a special topic, please put it there and I'll address the topic later. Welcome to all of our viewers. We're discussing saving our children from dying young. Dr. Gordon just discussed diabetes in children. We're seeing that 40%, 33 to 40% of children between 10 and 15 are overweight. And with obesity comes many different problems. At this time, we're going to go to the video to tell you about our upcoming event here in the Rio Grande Valley on April 11th. We don't want you to miss it.
Why are some cultures living longer than others? Could the answer be found on your plate or in your lifestyle? Find out Wednesday, April 11, 2018 at Get Healthy RGV, Health and Wellness Summit in McAllen, Texas. Register online now at bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV. That's bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV. Receive free medical screenings and enjoy healthy, flavorful cooking demos, samples, and more. While you're here, plan to attend the Continuing Medical Education Conference. Hundreds of healthcare professionals, health coaches, chiropractors, and dietitians from across the country will descend upon McAllen, Texas for one day only. CMEC 2018. Get insight from top nutrition and health experts and industry leaders. Network with hundreds of healthcare professionals and earn continuing education credits. Save the date, Wednesday, April 11, 2018. Get Healthy RGV, Health and Wellness Summit, McAllen Convention Center. located at 700 Convention Center Boulevard, McAllen, Texas. Stay informed about the benefits of good nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. Let's change the future of healthcare. Use lifestyle as we add years to life and life to years. Register online now at bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV.
Welcome back. We're discussing with Dr. Gordon saving our kids from dying young. And the last segment we discussed obesity. Dr. Gordon discussed genetics versus lifestyle. And before we continue, I'm going to give you a story. I had a young man who walked into my office one day. He was overweight, high blood pressure, borderline blood sugar, and I said, we need to sit and discuss how to help you prevent diabetes and heart disease. And he said to me, Doc, everyone in my family has diabetes, so I'm going to get the diabetes. Now, should we think like that? Can we tweak our genes? Because studies have shown that lifestyle habit can suppress the expression of the genes with various diseases. So let's talk about lifestyle habit and obesity.
Okay. With that and with the example that you presented, when I'm confronted with this, I use another example usually to present to people. The example that I heard is this. Let's say you were to have a gun that is loaded. Does that mean to say that you are going to die?
No, of course
not. You have
not.
the gun, you have the bullet, and you have the trigger. For you to die, then what you have to do is to point it to yourself and then pull the trigger. Okay. Genetics is the loaded gun. You are going to decide now with your lifestyle, what is it that you are going to do with that loaded gun.
That's right.
And the purpose of this type of programs is to, okay, you know what, let's leave that loaded gun there,
right there,
and then let's move on with life. One of the things that we had been commenting about is the screen time that we tend to have, and in this case speaking about kids that they spend, but there are also other factors. In terms of healthy living, what we eat is eventually what we turned out to
what
be.
we are, yes.
So in terms of our meals, one of the things that we tend to see is that we should in general use 3 meals a day. One of the things that I have noted with the schools and with the kids that are in school is most kids, I would say probably like about 60-75% of them don't have breakfast. That is the most
They
important.
leave their home without breakfast.
Exactly. And sometimes even at school, where they do provide meals, they don't consume them. So what happens? We had the whole night without eating. We spend the whole morning without eating. We are using our brain, which needs the fuel.
Exactly.
So then the body interprets it this way. We have scarcity of food, so then what we have to do is go in slow mode and then store all of what we can. But then when they reach in the night, then they eat 2, sometimes even 3 different meals. What the body interprets, you know what? We are in starvation, we are going to accumulate it. And I mention this because some parents say, but my child mostly don't eat much, so why are they being overweight? Their habits slow their metabolism. They are not very active, they don't have breakfast, and they have a very heavy supper. There is a phrase in Spanish that says, lo que se cena, se almacena. Whatever you have as, what is it?
As your supper, you will store.
You are going to store it. So then what we need to do is use it as breakfast so that we might be able to burn it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that because, you know, another thing, when one skips breakfast and skips lunch, then the person becomes so hungry that they overeat. And they don't give their brain enough time to say, hey, I am finished, I am full, so stop eating. If someone eats fast and consume a meal within less than 20 minutes, that person's going to think he's still hungry and he's going to continue to eat.
Exactly.
Because you need about 20 minutes for the brain to communicate with the stomach and say, hey,
it's enough.
Stop, it's enough. Yeah. So that is one of our problems. The eating too late at night, skipping the meals. The other thing with the schools, I want to bring out school and the type of meal they're serving. Because a lot of kids will probably eat breakfast and lunch at school and only supper at home. So I think if the schools start serving healthier meals, then that'll be beneficial to our students to become healthier,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
The other thing I would tell some of the parents is that we need to make sure we have healthy meals on the table. Because if the kids are not consuming enough vegetables, vegetables are usually low in calories and high in fiber. So they're going to be feeling full and they won't overeat. So parents, you must model health. You have to have the fruits and vegetables on the table so that the children will consume fruits and vegetables.
Yep. And that is something that hopefully parents might be able to instill in their kids from a very young age. One of the things is this: when a child is born, for the first 3, 4, sometimes even the first 6 months, their diet is basically milk. But gradually, several other things are introduced. And it is not very uncommon to hear that some parents might introduce to their baby bottle sodas, other type of juices, chocolates, other type of snacks. And they say, oh, but while I was eating it, they were so desperate to be able to try it also. The thing is that even from this very small age, these habits are introduced.
Right.
The best thing that as parents we can do for our kids is to model for them a good example. So if we eat healthy, then most likely they also will eat healthy.
I'll give you a story and then we'll take a break. You know, a couple months ago, a drug rep walked into my office and he said to me, "Hey, Dr. Cooper, I lost 35 pounds. I said, "How did you do it?" He said, "You know what? I took up one of your magazines and that's where it began." Then later on, he came back. He said, "I lost 50 pounds. And my daughter, who is 3, is now asking me for kale smoothie."
Okay.
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
It means, therefore, that this parent is now modeling health and the child is now changing and asking for eating habit and want healthier food. So parents, the best thing you can do to save your kids from dying young is to model health. Very important. Anything else before we take a break?
Yeah, pretty much that. In my office, I have this little chart that sometimes I share with parents. It has like a series of, I believe it was like 15 different pictures in which a child was offered vegetable. Initially, the child was crying because they didn't want the vegetables. But the parent insisted. Eventually, the crying subsided. And at the end, the child again is crying. But no, not because they didn't want it, but no, they are crying because, oi, it is time for me to have my vegetable.
Imagine that. Parents, we're going to end on this good note. And we'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back. So parents, I love that. If you want your kids to eat healthy, then introduce the healthy food while they're young. That will change their taste bud and they'll want to have the good food and they'll yearn to have it. And that is how you're going to save your kids from dying young. I want to take the time to welcome some other people that joined. We're discussing saving our kids from dying young and as well as giving you information how to prevent certain diseases. So I want to welcome Marlene, that's my sister from New York. Freddie Peralta, welcome. Farron Cooper, I want to welcome you as well. Shelly Roberts, welcome. And 2 people had questions on liver cirrhosis. Curtis said that he thought liver cirrhosis was as a result of alcohol. And then Donnell commented, "Oh, wow, liver cirrhosis in children, yes." You see, the thing is this, when one consumes too much calories and too much fat, that extra calorie has to be stored somewhere. So one of the places in which this extra calorie is stored as fat, it's in the liver. Now, the liver now becomes, this fat can cause inflammation and damage to the liver and thus lead to liver cirrhosis. And liver cirrhosis is a risk factor for liver cancer. So you see the importance then of eating healthy, maintaining a healthy weight, and preventing not only liver cirrhosis and liver failure and cancer, but early death. So parents, I want you to listen carefully to what we have to say. And I want you, even if you're not a parent, just go ahead and share the page, like the page, and ask your questions, and I'll get these questions answered. Don't go away. We're going to take a short break and then return again with Dr. Verley Gordon. Oops. All right. All right.
Why are some cultures living longer than others? Could the answer be found on your plate or in your lifestyle? Find out Wednesday, April 11, 2018 at Get Healthy RGV, Health and Wellness Summit in McAllen, Texas. Register online now at bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV. That's bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV. Receive free medical screenings and enjoy healthy, flavorful cooking demos, samples, and more. While you're here, plan to attend the Continuing Medical Education Conference. Hundreds of healthcare professionals, health coaches, chiropractors, and dietitians from across the country will descend upon McAllen, Texas for one day only. CMEC 2018. Get insight from top nutrition and health experts and industry leaders. Network with hundreds of healthcare professionals and earn continuing education credits. Save the date, Wednesday, April 11, 2018. Get Healthy RGV, Health and Wellness Summit, McAllen Convention Center, located at 700 Convention Center Boulevard, McAllen, Texas. Stay informed about the benefits of good nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. Let's change the future of healthcare. Use lifestyle as we add years to life and life to years. Register online now at bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV.
Welcome back to Get Health with Dr. Cooper, where the focus is on educating and empowering you to use healthy lifestyle to prevent and reverse diseases. Today I have in my studio Dr. Gordon. He has been practicing pediatrics for over 20 years. And here in the South Texas, where we currently reside, we were nominated as the fattest city in the United States. So we're discussing lifestyle. How can we encourage our parents to keep their children healthier, so then we will have healthier adults and we'll decrease this statistics of being the fattest city in the country. And if you're watching me in another city or in other parts of the world, the information that we're given is relevant to you as well, because we know that obesity is a disease. Obesity is a risk factor for many diseases, as we mentioned before: diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, lung problems. There's so many diseases. So we want to empower you to stay healthy and to keep your children healthy, to model health so they can be healthy. Now, one of the biggest problems we're having as parents, as doctors that take care of younger children, is the use of technology. The child might have an iPad, an iPhone, an iTV. Doctor, what are the positive or negative effects on the growth of the child with this type of technology?
Well, technology has been introduced to our lives usually to make things easier. If we speak about something positive with technology and looking at it from a parent perspective, I would say that the positive thing is that technology entertains kids. Mm-hmm. And aside from that, then I'll go over to the other aspect, which is the
negative
disadvantage, which
yes.
is the negative. The more time you spend on screen time is the less amount of time that you're going to spend with physical activity. Mm-hmm. Physical activity is so important for kids. Why? Because they are still developing. They need to be running, jumping, walking, crawling, climbing, doing all of these things. Mm-hmm. All of the time that they spend with screen time, it is just sitting. Number two, in terms of their intellectual, when we are confronted with challenges in our life environment, that puts our brain to function to look for solutions, right. Not necessarily with the screen time, because this is going to be more of a passive type of activity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes they are going through different routes. One of the things that these games has is that they tend to be repetitive and then eventually they master it, but it's something very mechanical. Is this going to help them for their daily life? The answer is no. So all of this time in terms of experience is things that they are losing that they should actually apply to their daily living. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommend that childs per day should spend no more than 1 hour of screen time. And if we look at it in terms of average, we're going to see that most kids spend 4, 5, and sometimes even more time.
Yes.
The thing is that it strains their eyes. They are not exposed to the different things that they should. First time kids used to tend to interact with each other. I have seen rooms in which there are a lot of kids, they are having fun, but guess what?
They're
are
on
not
their
really
phone.
interacting with each other. The extreme that I saw, this is once I was in the office, and while I usually go from one room to another, in a room there was a mother with her child that was waiting for me to come in to attend to them. When I go in the room, I noticed that both of them were on the phone. I'm like, oh, each one of you are doing a different phone call. No, they were texting each other.
On the phone?
On the phone in the same room.
So then we're having a problem with interpersonal relationship with the screen time.
Another thing that we tend to see is that things that used to be very commonly used between kids in terms of fun or playing or things like that, now is tend to be extrapolated. Why? Because we have lost that skill of interpersonal relationship. So we are not that adapted to have contact with other people, and that makes us very irritable also. It also decreases our span. I remember in another occasion, we had like friends and family got together. Adults were in one room, kids were in another room. Well, as adults, we were conversing and things like that. And I noticed something very interesting. I couldn't see them, but I could hear that the kids were having very good fun. They were laughing, yelling, this and that. It got quiet for about 5 minutes. And then just suddenly one of the kids came out and said, oh, I'm bored.
Imagine that.
They had like 30 minutes laughing, 2, 3, 5 minutes, it was quiet, and then they were bored. Why? One of the problems with technology is that it is a constant stimulation. And the kids get accustomed to that. I don't know if you have seen kids that, let's say, they are not able to sit quiet and they're just moving their hands. Why? Because they are accustomed to that stimulus. What we need to do in life is be able to sit and look. For example, imagine those kids going to a beach and just sitting and appreciate the waves of the sea.
They're not doing that.
Going and coming. For them, that would be torture.
That would be boring because they need that iPad or that phone to be playing with. How about their cognitive skills, developing their cognitive skills?
Okay.
Is there a negative effect when they are exposed to so much screen time?
Definitely. As I mentioned before, one of the problems with this is that it presents life as something very passive. They really don't have to solve the problems compared to being in life, in environment. If you have some obstacle here, how are you going to go around it? With the screens, the only thing you do is you just run through it. And then that is what some kids eventually extrapolate to life.
Right.
The thing is that the screen time is not a reality time. It presents it as like if we were to eat something. Instead of presenting the meal for the person, what you do is actually blend it, digest it, and actually put it in their mouth. They don't have to do anything. No, when they grow up, what they are going to get accustomed to the food that is all digested and just open their mouth. So we need to decrease this amount of time so that they are able to learn more life skills and interpersonal activity.
And the ability to think. Kids are not carrying a book anymore. They don't read a book because they're so exposed to the screen.
Exactly.
So that has a negative effect on their development. And you mentioned hyperactivity. Is there a negative effect where, prolonged exposure to the screen will probably increase the risk for attention deficit and hyperactivity syndrome?
Okay. I would say that it could cause this maybe in a very indirect way, because ADD, ADHD, it is more something introspective that the person might have. So the person that really has it definitely have it. One of the things that we see nowadays is that many of the kids that are apparently diagnosed with this are not really that they do have the problem, but it's because of the way how they interact with the environment.
Right.
Why they are so overstimulated, they are so much engaged in this that their mind is only focused with this. The example that I'll give is this. What is it that parents usually do to try to calm kids? Expose them to this. When you compare screen time, like video games and things like that, kids are going to compare this with actually sitting in school, listening to a teacher. No, they are not going to focus because their mind is going to, I want my iPad, I want my game, I want my this, and this teacher is too boring. So what they are going to try to do now then is to try to compare one thing with another when in reality it doesn't have anything to do.
Right.
One of the purposes of limiting the amount of screen time is for them to engage in other activities which are going to be more useful, which will help them, for example, school, life, and all of the other activities.
Right. You know, we're going to take a break, and thank you so much. Don't go away. We're going to continue with saving our kids from dying young. We'll be right back. Thank you, Dr. Gordon. Parents, you realize that the exposure to all this screen time is very dangerous for your children's health. So make sure you reduce the screen time. Don't give them an iPhone at age 10 or an iPad at age 10 or 5 or 1. Wait, and you will actually be helping your kids to live long. I want to welcome a couple of people who have just joined. Miguel Dominguez. Miguel, I'm so happy to see you. I know you want to be a medical doctor, so learn as much so you can be one of those doctors to teach and educate so we can have healthier communities. So welcome, Miguel. I see Monica Gonzalez, thank you. And James, thank you. And someone made a comment here, Suzanne Salazar. She said she had high liver enzymes. She had a biopsy. Her mother also had liver cirrhosis. But they're doing better, and she's following my advice. Thank you so much. Listen and follow, and believe me, you will see the benefit in your health. Who else should I welcome? Curtis, welcome to you again. Thank you so much for being there always. Joy, Marshall, I want to welcome Letty Moreno. Please share and like the page, guys, and comment, ask question. You might be the winner of a book or one of my courses next week. Now, I'm going to mention again our upcoming summit. It's going to be April 4th here in the Rio Grande Valley. We want all those healthcare providers who want to learn how to give professional information on lifestyle to their patients. Be there. And if you just want to learn how to live healthier, be there. If you have a business, you want to promote your business, then we look forward to seeing you. At this time, let's go to the video with this Health Expo.
Why are some cultures living longer than others? Could the answer be found on your plate or in your lifestyle? Find out Wednesday, April 11, 2018 at Get Healthy RGV, Health and Wellness Summit in McAllen, Texas. Register online now at bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV. That's bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV. Receive free medical screenings and enjoy healthy, flavorful cooking demos, samples, and more. While you're here, plan to attend the Continuing Medical Education Conference. Hundreds of healthcare professionals, health coaches, chiropractors, and dietitians from across the country will descend upon McAllen, Texas for one day only. CMEC 2018. Get insight from top nutrition and health experts and industry leaders. Network with hundreds of healthcare professionals and earn continuing education credits. Save the date, Wednesday, April 11, 2018. Get Healthy RGV, Health and Wellness Summit, McAllen Convention Center. Located at 700 Convention Center Boulevard, McAllen, Texas. Stay informed about the benefits of good nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. Let's change the future of healthcare. Use lifestyle as we add years to life and life to years. Register online now at bit.ly/GetHealthyRGV.
Welcome back. We have been discussing saving our kids from dying young. We know that today there is a surge in the incidence of obesity, diabetes, hypertension. We have young kids as young as 14 that have come to see me on multiple drugs for diabetes and hypertension. And I know that in order to have healthy communities, healthy individuals, we probably need to start with our children. And that is the reason why on Get Healthy Dr. Cooper today, I have a children's doctor, a pediatrician, Dr. Gordon. We looked at diabetes, we looked at obesity, we looked a little bit on various diseases. We just ended with a little bit on attention deficit disease. And I want you, doctor, I think, in my opinion, we are overdiagnosing ADD and ADHD. Tell me a little bit, how do we make this diagnosis and how is it treated, these two?
I would say that one of the reasons why this might be overdiagnosed is because of the way how many times it might have been approached. For example, ADD, ADHD has to do with hyperactivity. You have several kids that tends to be very active. Once a kid is very active, then they will say, oh, this child is hyperactive. But we cannot just diagnose one certain disease with one symptom. You have a spectrum of things. So there is a specific evaluation. The one that I personally use is the Vanderbilt. It's a questionnaire that parents and also teachers tend to fill out. One of the reasons why this is done is that the child might present a problem in one environment and not necessarily in the other. Mm-hmm. Discipline is one of the main reasons or causes of this problem with hyperactivity. So very frequently we might see a child that is hyperactive at home, but in school is an angel. What is the problem? We have discipline problems at home. Or it could be related to the school, for example, if there is a friction or thing like that between the child and the teacher, then you could have something similar to that. So,
or the child might be just bored.
Or the child might be
very intelligent and it's not challenged.
It's not challenged with the activities at school, and then it might manifest this way. There is also the problem of anxiety, depression that could have these type of symptoms. Many times we tend to think about a person that is depressed, that is just like down, but sometimes the depression could present as overactivity. So then we have this questionnaire that helps guide us through the different aspects, and once you have a certain score, then you will be able to make that diagnosis. So it is a spectrum of things before you actually reach to this diagnosis.
And how is it treated? These two, how are they treated?
Okay. Especially if it is over 6 years or below 6 years. Below 6 years, we try as much as possible to not use any type of medication. So you have behavioral therapies that are done.
Very good.
Over this age, then you extend the possibilities in terms of treatment. You try to see if there is something in the environment that might contribute to this. For example, if the child gets distracted very easily and is sitting at the rear of the class, then it could be advanced so that try to maintain his focus. The therapies also would be able to help. And then eventually medication comes in. We try as much as possible not to use medication necessarily as the first option, but try to use other things before we reach
behavioral
lifestyle
counsel,
before we reach to the medication. And then you have a gamut of medication that you use for that, which is usually stimulants.
Very good, very good. Parents, if you think you have a child who is hyperactive or has attention deficit, then take the child to the doctor and have the doctor sit with you and fill out this questionnaire so you can make the proper diagnosis. But also be very careful, because sometimes your child is just super intelligent and is just bored. So I really don't like to start these kids on medication. As Dr. Gordon said, you go with counseling, you use different types of behavioral therapy before. Drugs should be the last option. Now, doctor, I know that our audience are there thinking, okay, immunization. I have people call me and ask me about immunization, when to start, how many vaccines to give together. Before we close this segment, can you address this issue.
Okay. In terms of immunizations, especially when it comes to pediatrics, I would say that this is the greatest advance that we have seen in terms of medicine.
Very good.
I usually comment to people that, let's say, if we were to think about 100 years ago, a lot of kids used to die,
polio,
more or less like 20% related to polio, meningitis, and so many other things, or live with a disability. Nowadays, it is even less than 1%. Why? Because immunization has controlled, and in at least viruela, it has eliminated the illness. So immunization is very important. The immunizations usually starts at birth. The first immunization, they usually get it in the nursery, which is the hepatitis B. 2, 4, 6 months is usually like tetanus, meningitis, Haemophilus influenza vaccine. The measles and the varicella usually comes at at 1 year of age, and then further on. One of the things that I would like to mention about this, which is something that has been a lot in the environment, is side effect of the immunization. And many times they might attribute autism to immunization, which is not really the case. What I am saying is this: even in civilization or cultures that don't tend to use immunization, the rate of autism is very similar, which means to say that this is something not related to the vaccine itself. And sometimes we don't take this in consideration. Now, as though we are not focusing so much on the death of the kids and the disabilities, then our focus tends to shift to something different. But believe me, it is not the vaccines.
All right, doctor, I think you have given us a lot to think about. What do you think out there? I want to thank you so much, Dr. Gordon. I know you have a lot more to say. And remember, send your question, make comments, and I can have Dr. Gordon back on my show. He's a very good friend of mine. So if you have questions, if you have doubts in any of the topic we discussed, maybe immunization, maybe ADHD, ADD, whatever it is, send us your question and I can have Dr. Gordon. I'm sure he'll be willing to come back, won't you?
It will be a pleasure.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Welcome.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. Very good, very good. I want to thank him again, and I have some comments that I want to read. But first of all, let me just welcome Ronita Chance. Hi, Ronita. Thank you for joining us. Chewy Lopez, you're always there, Chewy. Thank you again. Let's see, Norma Fleming. Thank you for joining us. Now, I have a very interesting comment from Curtis Brooks. He said, how do parents take back control when they're given away and now trying to restrict children from TV time? Parents, how do you take control back? You know, when my kids were growing up, they were restricted to just certain times a day to watch cartoons. That's it. So you have to be in charge. The parents, you're the one in charge. So you need to limit the time. You need to discuss the advantages and the disadvantages spending so much time on the screen. And it's very good to start them when they're young, because when they're older, it is hard, Curtis, to take the time back from them. So start now. Then I have another positive comment from Joy Marshall. She said, I'm 54 years old, and she's not taking any medication from her primary care doctor, but she's placed on a plant-based diet. Plant-based diet, that is actually your medicine. So if you want to be off drugs, if you want to be healthy, follow Joy and listen to this show, because a plant-based diet will prevent, improve, or even reverse certain diseases. Chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, and cholesterol, and many other diseases. She said she does do exercise when she can, as much as she can. That's important. Exercise is also medicine. When we combine healthy nutrition and exercise, stress management, and meditation, you have a good package there to get healthy. So don't forget that you're a complete person with different spheres, different aspects, and each of those components needs to be addressed. Agnes Day, she says health is wealth. You know, if you don't have health and you have all the money, what are you going to do with that money? Health is wealth. Now, parents, somebody also said that sometimes it's very hard to come up with the menu. Now, I have this book, 14 Days to Amazing Health. In that book, I've laid out different daily menu as well as daily exercise. In my cookbook, Incredibly Delicious Vegan, that is not only a cookbook, but it has 28 days of meal plan, suggested meal plan. So you have breakfast, lunch, and supper. So if you purchase that book, then you'll be on your road to a healthy lifestyle. It will be easy for you to follow all these meal plan with the amount of calories, the amount of protein and fruits and vegetables that you need to combine for a healthy lifestyle. You know, parents, you might be wondering, how do I transform my kitchen to a healthier kitchen? Or what am I doing wrong? What do I need to remove from the diet of my children? So this time, I'm going to let you look at a video, the healthy swaps. What unhealthy food you need to remove and what healthy food you need to introduce in your family lifestyle in order for all of you, children and parents, to enjoy good health and live until you're 120. Let's go to our kitchen segment. Hello everyone. Welcome to Get Healthy with Dr. Cooper, the kitchen segment. Today I have a very, very important topic to discuss with you, and this is just healthy swap. I know many of you are thinking of changing lifestyle, but you don't know what to eat. What should I change in my diet so I can have healthy, nutritious diet? So we're going to start here with processed food. You notice I have sugar, white sugar. This is bad for your health. White flour, remove that totally from your diet because this will increase your risk for diabetes, hypertension, many chronic diseases. What about oils? I get a lot of that question at my office. Now, oils, you should stay away from oils because they're processed. However, there's some healthy oils that you could probably use in your diet. Grapeseed oil could be used, extra virgin olive oil as well. However, the best fats are from nuts. So you see I have several different types of nuts here, and if you're allergic to some type, choose the better nuts. Walnuts, any nuts, these are good for your health. Now you might be asking, how do I sweeten my pastry? Now, it is good to use fruit, natural sweetener. You could use banana, you could use dates, apples, or whatever you have in season. However, if you need some extra sweetening, agave is natural and it has low glycemic index. So this should not affect your blood sugar that much. Now, many people believe that when you become a vegetarian, then there is nothing to eat as protein. So let's look at your choices for protein. All the lentils, legumes, peas and beans, these are high in protein, high also in complex carbohydrate, and as well as other minerals. You know, it is believed that legumes and beans are the poor man's protein. So eat lots of this and you will stay healthy. Also, seeds. This here pumpkin seed, this is also high in protein. Don't forget your chia seed, flaxseed, also high in omega-3. Now what about dips? Healthy dips. Rather than having cheese, you can have healthy dips. Hummus. Hummus is a bean dip made from chickpea. We also have avocado. Avocado is also high in good fats. And of course, if you want something very easy, you can find, you know, mayonnaise, veggies. We substitute mayonnaise at the store. Now, grains. There are a lot of people talking about grains, when to eat grains, how to eat grains, what grains are healthy. Now, I have whole grains for you. Quinoa. Quinoa is high in fiber as well as high in protein. I have bulgur wheat. This is wonderful. This can be used to substitute rice or even as a sweet cereal as well in the mornings. You have brown rice, black rice. These are healthy. And also pasta. You can have whole wheat pasta. This is healthy. Now, for the children, Some children like a lot of sugar in their cereal. That is so unhealthy. Mothers, fathers, try to use oatmeal and use the rolled oats. There are several ways to prepare this. You can go to my website and find different recipes for oat recipes. Now, remember, it's very easy to swap out the unhealthy food and swap in the food that you can use as medicine. The number one risk factor for diabetes and chronic diseases, it's the food you eat. However, food can also be your medicine. So for more information on how to stay healthy and how to prepare healthy meals, go to my website, gethealthwithdrcooper.com or .tv or cooperwellnesscenter.com. I'll see you again next time, same place, same station. All right, parents, let's go back to cereal. I think I was a bit boring there when I say oatmeal. Oatmeal, yes, is really good, but sometimes you could look for cereal that have whole grains and decreased sugar. All right, we don't want to stress the kids too much, but we need to find them healthy option. So I hope you've learned something from this segment with the healthy swap. And of course, adults, the same thing for you. When we model health, as I mentioned earlier on, then our kids will want to do likewise. So we must model health. Let me take the time to welcome a few more people that joined. They're joining at the end of the program. Myrna Buckner, Mons Garza, Walter, welcome. I want you to like and share the page. And remember that we're here every Sunday. I'm here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before we close, I want to make sure that I mention everything. Now, Curtis, you were wondering, how can we take back control from our children? That is difficult. But I want to leave you with the wise man's proverb. There's a verse in the Bible, in Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. So you need to start these changes, these healthy habits, lifestyle habits at home when the children are young. Because when that is ingrained in their mind, even though they might stray away, they're going to remember the right path. My daughter always said, Mom, don't worry. We know what's right, and even though we probably will stray away sometime, we're going to get right back to the right path. So parents and young people who are thinking of becoming parents, model the right thing to your children. Good habits. Healthy lifestyle should be a habit that you want to do this all the time. Your children are really watching you, and this is the best legacy that you can leave for them. Not wealth, but of course wealth too, but healthy lifestyle is the most important. So until then, I'll see you next week. If you want me to address a particular topic, don't hesitate to send me a message, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. Remember to like and share my page. I'm going to see who is the winner for one of my books, whether it's 14 Days to Amazing Health, Get Healthy for Life, or Incredibly Delicious Vegan, or one of my courses. And for more information, you can find all of this that I'm telling you on my website, the master site, drdonacooper.com. Bye-bye. I see you next week. Stay healthy and stay blessed.